It's episode 5 of Crown Chasers, and the wigs are still a jump scare every single time. I've been experiencing literally a mental breakdown this entire week, and I'm sure somewhere in there, these Crown Chasers wigs are part of it. But nevertheless, starting off this episode, I have to mention that I love Natasha's blazer. It looks so cool on her. I love Natasha and her style as a whole. You guys know this about me. We had our first mini challenge as per usual on Crown Chasers, and it was all about going racing with Mercedes. Mercedes, of course, is one of the major Miss South Africa sponsors, and it was sort of obvious that this episode was at least going to be partly about Mercedes. But I love the concept of going racing with Mercedes because it meant another field trip. You guys know I love it whenever we can get away from this stuffy sound stage that they've been keeping us in for the past 3 or 4 episodes. I get so happy. There were 2 winners to this challenge, and the winners actually were rewarded with a cryotherapy session. Some of them were definitely giving Rina behind the wheel, you know, with the way that they were driving. It literally reminded me of myself at some times, I must say. And you can really see how much they enjoyed this challenge, and I love that for them. I love seeing the girls enjoy themselves, just to take the pressure off a little bit. Chidimma and Layla were actually the winners of this challenge, and they also got to experience the cryotherapy session, which honestly ended up seeming more like a punishment than a reward, but to each their own. After this, the girls were faced with an obstacle course. They were supposed to participate in this little team building challenge where they had to work through an obstacle course. Layla and Chidimma got to choose the first 2 members of their team respectively, and Natasha will actually be the 14th member on the team. Since there were only 13 women left at this point, Natasha had to join in and also join a team, which I think is so fun. The course had lots of different elements focusing on different things, and it was interesting watching the women deliberating on who would be doing what during this challenge. You know, it's sort of giving felt school a little bit. It's giving church youth camp. Mia actually possibly got one of the most difficult challenges of all. Something about her just makes me want to wrap her up in a little blanket and hug her. And her team actually ended up winning, which made me so happy. Of course, in this episode, we also had the obligatory Talk Your With segment, and they actually explained a little bit how the judges actually judge the Talk Your With segment, which you guys know initially I didn't think that this was going to be something that was going to be part of the judges' decision, but they actually do judge it, and they judge it based on articulation and speaking ability, even though the women do seem to be encouraged to get into their emotions quite a lot. And this Talk Your With was no different. It was very emotional. With all of the online harassment that Chidimma has been receiving, her part got me really, really emotional. Obviously, she didn't mention it, but I can only imagine what she must be going through with all of these disgusting xenophobic attacks and being targeted online like that. It must just be horrendous for her the past few weeks. Obviously, every Crown Chasers episode comes with a photo shoot, and honestly, when it came to this part, Natasha's hair was definitely reminding me of myself when I let myself get out of the shower and let my hair air dry just like that. The shoot was all about sport, boxing to be exact, which I think was so cool. Honestly, the growth that some of these women have had since their very first shoot, since the very first episode, is just immense. Nobuhle is just so real for mentioning that she doesn't even go to the gym with shorts, let alone take pictures in shorts. And you know what, honestly, I relate, because I would literally rather paint my entire house inside and out with Q-Tex than show up to the gym in some booty shorts and like a sports bra or something. Onalenna said that she's never done a swimsuit photo shoot before, which I think is honestly so real, considering she's stunning. Like, you would have thought that Onalenna had 1 or 2 shoots in a swimsuit by now, considering how beautiful she is. Taahira said that she'd gained 7 kilograms, which is just wow. Like, where is the 7 kilograms in the room with us? Because she looks stunning, and all that must just be sitting in exactly the right places. As opposed to me, who gains 7 kilograms walking past the bakery in Spar and smelling the bread.
I've been doing my gym photo shoot and I feel fat, but I do still feel confident.
You guys obviously know that every episode of Crown Chasers comes with a runway scene, and honestly, I am just so impressed with the improvement that all of the women made. Like, all of the women competing at Miss South Africa right now, as of this episode, they've just been incredible, the way that they've been improving over the course of when Crown Chasers was filmed. They're charismatic on the runway now. I'm just super impressed. The judges' deliberation was quite interesting. I loved Leratu this episode. I will be using some of these clips in my videos to express myself henceforth.
If inconsistency was, can I say, it doesn't sound right, but
yeah,
was a
Be
person.
kind.
No, not in a bad way. All I'm gonna say is,
yeah.
I don't see any crumbs once again. She left no crumbs. Standard procedure.
But the top 3 for this episode ended up being Mia, Nompumelelo, and Onalenna. And the winner for this episode actually was Mia, which I was so happy about. The bottom 3, unfortunately, was Chidimma, Nobuhle, and Lethaukuthula. And I was honestly so surprised about Chidimma being in the bottom 3. You guys know that I absolutely adore Chidimma. I do not want her to go home or go anywhere. But as always, the girls were forced to fight for their existence during the rapid fire Q&A, or as I like to call it, aka the fight for your life segment. And Lethaukuthula spoke very nervously. You can definitely tell that she didn't want to go home. Nobuhle sort of seemed a bit contrived, you know, and she even went over time. I felt like Nobuhle, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, was a bit off-putting in her delivery. Chidimma, for the first time ever, she mentioned that she had a child. We know that Layla has been very vocal about her children, but I think it's every woman's choice how much they want to reveal, especially when it comes to their children. But it was the first time that Chidimma did mention that she had a child. Nobuhle was eliminated first, but then there was another surprise elimination, and suddenly the pressure was on and the emotions in that room were through the roof. It was between Chidimma and Lethaukuthula, obviously, and Lethaukuthula was the one who was eliminated. And I just feel like, you know, I feel bad for her, because poor her, she thought she was safe, but she wasn't, right? That must have been just the most intense thing ever. Next episode, we're going to Sun City, apparently, which is so fun. I'm so glad that, if not Mauritius this time, at least they're taking our girls somewhere. But more on that in the next episode. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!